薄いのアホ。
プリズムパワーメイクアップカードレディー。
Welcome to Shojo Tell, where we discuss shoujo manga and tell who's hot and who's not, talk about themes, and just generally geek out. Today, October 20th, 2018, we'll be shoujo and telling about volumes 1 through 7 of House of the Sun by Taamo. I'm your host, Ashley McDonald, and I'm joined by Kelly Quinn Chiu.
Hello.
Hello, Kelly. Okay, Kelly, who are you?
So who am I?
Yeah.
My name is Kelly. Thanks, Ashley. I am a librarian at large. I am a children's librarian. I'm also the co-host of the podcast One Panel Later, where me and my co-host Angela duke it out over manga versus American comics. And I also am known around the internet because I write about manga for Barnes & Noble and Tor.com and some other places. So I'm a librarian out in the world talking about manga.
Yeah, and every time I listen to One Panel Later, I'm just like, hard agree with Kelly, disagree with Angela.
That is the right position to take.
I know.
You're nailing it.
It's so good. Everybody should listen to One Panel Later because it's, you learn stuff about manga. Or it just reconfirms your biases about manga, and that's fine.
You can reconfirm all your biases about how manga is far superior to Western comics in almost every way.
100%. Okay, but we are talking about House of the Sun, which is one of the 2 or 3 manga that you gave me as an option to do with you.
Yes. So, and you hadn't read this one at all, right?
No, I had not read this one. I was like... I actually didn't even realize at first that it was a digital-only release, so I was, confused. But, so, Kelly, why did you want to talk about this, and what is it about?
So, House of the Sun by Taamo, I really like this manga. I have read it a few times, so just to be perfectly honest, I read the first time as Scanlations because we all been there, long ago, and I was like, this is so cute. I wish someone would pick it up, and then no one ever did, and then Kodansha surprise digital licensed it. I don't know when, a while back, and so I reread it. And then I read it again while I was getting ready to record for this podcast. And I feel like this manga, Ashley, you do a lot of really iconic shoujo manga on your podcast. You do Fruits Basket and Magic Knight Rareith and stuff that's really seminal. But I feel like House of the Sun is a super under the radar underrated pick. And so I'm excited to talk about it because it needs more love. This is a manga about a girl, Mao, who her father has remarried and she has a new stepmom and a new little sister. And she just doesn't feel at home in her own house anymore and doesn't feel like she belongs there. And then meanwhile, she has this childhood friend who she grew up with who's a few years older. And his family is also kind of a mess, but it's for different reasons. It's because his parents sadly died and his siblings were split up. And so she's kind of a lonely person and he's kind of a lonely person. And she ends up going to live at his house while she's kind of feuding with her family. And he's kind of just alone. And it's just a super fluffy, nice read. I just love it so much. It's it's almost like a comfort read to me. Reading it again, I was like, aw. And I think that the art style definitely contributes to the comfiness, right? Taamo has a very fluffy style.
Yeah, it's very fluffy and certain things you're that's a little weird. She just scribbles in their eyes half the time.
Yeah, she just scribbles their eyes. And so for me, this is a manga about 2 lonely people. It has a nice slow build romance, and it's a gentle soft manga, but it's also not a shallow manga. I'm sure we're gonna get into this, but it has a lot of deals with a lot of baggage about family and guilt and relationships, and so I feel it has a lot of meat under its fluffy exterior, and I just want people to experience this manga.
Yeah, how would you assuage anybody who is a little squeegeed out about age gap romances?
So that is the thing. Okay, so obviously this is a shoujo manga podcast, so age gap romances are not anathema to this audience, but I do think that is one of the things that people are like, oh, she's like 17 and he's like, what, like 23?
He's 23.
Or 24?
Yeah, something like that. He has a birthday, I think.
Yeah, so she's like she's like a junior in high school, and he's like a working person. I don't know. For me, this one's just like not that big of a deal to me. I mean, let's all remember that like Sailor Moon, like Usagi is like literally like in 8th grade.
Yeah, right.
Right? And like legit, like he is in college. like Tuxedo Mask like is in college. He is a college student. So like hello. But and so Mao's like 17. She's like almost an adult. But also I feel like the romance in this one is so like slow burning and kind of like gentle, and really it's like it's not, they don't ignore the age gap thing, right? He's kind of like, oh,
yeah,
you know, she's still in high school. And so I feel like it's kind of acceptable. Like it doesn't squick me out, but I also really like Takane and Hana, and that one doesn't squick me out either.
Oh yeah, I've definitely been reading Takane and Hana and being like, I like this more than I intellectually want to.
Right? You're like, she's in high school, but you're like, but they're cute.
But they're cute.
And I also think that because they have like this childhood friend relationship in House of the Sun, it kind of like mitigates some of like the ick factor, where it's less that he is like preying on this young girl, yeah, and more that like they have this like really long history together and have like kind of like found solace in each other, and so like that naturally leads to romance.
Everything leads to romance. You see a dude and they're like, but do you like him? I'm like, all right.
And they're like, yes.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, so do you have just a general like favorite aspect of the series or no?
Oh my gosh.
5, I know.
So many. Well, okay, I really just want to like plug the art style of this manga for a second. And Ashley, since this was like, you had fresh eyes on this, so you're like a total fresh perspective, but I love the art style of this manga. I feel like Taamo's style, it's like kind of undone, and like she uses these lines that are kind of, they're just like thin lines of like, you know, of uniform weight, but they're so cute and like so fluffy, and like we said, she like squiggles some of the eyes, and sometimes she kind of like uses like, she like draws in little stars instead of using like tone. Yeah. And so I just feel like it kind of has this like kind of like looser, kind of more like naive style that I just really enjoy. And but also I really like the animals. Yes. So they have two pets. They have like a little turtle. His name is Wakaba-chan. And then they have a dog, Croquet.
Yes. But every time I see that turtle, I'm like, do you guys just let that turtle like poop around the house? Like
I know. The turtle just like roams.
Yeah, the turtle's just roaming around, like being whatever.
You never see like a terrarium or any kind of like turtle habitat that this turtle
does
could
it ever
live
go
in.
in water? Like, I don't know. I don't know.
But I just kind of like I like them. And I also love Tama's fashion. Like Mao is supposed to be a tomboy, but like I don't know if she is a believable tomboy because all of her clothes are so cute. I know. Oh yeah, when she told that story about how she's like, I didn't relate to girls because they like girly things and I don't. I was like, I relate to that sentiment, but I definitely don't dress as fashionably as you. I know, she's like wearing like little rompers with like printed tights and like little like kitten heels. I'm like, you're so cute. What do you mean? But yeah, I think like on a deeper level, besides like their squiggly eyes and their fashion and the cute dog, I think that like my favorite part of the manga is like the slow build of the relationships. Like I think this one has a really like nice like naturalistic growth. Yeah, because sometimes it feels like it's going really fast. Like they suddenly confess their feelings, and then it's kind of like, oh, we you know, that didn't massively alter anything, because they'll be like, just kidding, I didn't mean it. Like, I take it back. Classic shoujo move, right? Yeah. I just kidding. Or like a firework goes off, they're like, I didn't hear you. Yeah, what? What'd you say? Oh, so good. But yeah, so this was the like spoiler-free section of this podcast. Although we did spoil that they have a cute dog, so. Oh, whatever. That's key. That's key to selling this. Like, you want to smush that dog's face. Okay? You do. He's so cute. Also, Croquet, like, grows up, like, throughout the manga. And it's great. like, she's like really small when they get her because she's just like a little Shiba puppy, and then she like actually gets bigger. I was like kind of impressed.
Yeah, you're like, wow, Taamo's like paying attention to those, you know?
Right? I'm like, how much time has passed? Croaky's so big now.
But yeah, so as we have perhaps mentioned, House of the Sun is a digital-only release from Kodansha USA. And, you know, if you want Kodansha USA to print more of those things, you have to go read their digital releases or just bug them a lot in their surveys.
Yes, you do. Although, given that we still don't have a physical release of Chihaya Furu, I'm not sure if this actually works.
Just keep trying. It's the only way we have.
Yeah, although we did get Tokyo Tarareba Girls in print, so go out and buy House of the Sun.
Yeah. Okay, Kelly, so this is a very specific question to me, but you are a librarian. And
yes.
Since I was confused that this was a digital-only release at first, I looked for this. I live in San Francisco, so I looked at the San Francisco Public Library, and I was like, why do they only have it in Japanese? I'm very confused. And then I was like, oh, it's a digital one.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, why do libraries not normally, in my experience, carry digital manga?
Well, so, like, I can tell you the reason that I don't buy digital manga as a librarian. I don't know if I can speak for all librarians, but I'll try. So for me, like, I don't have that much of a digital budget.
Okay.
And so deciding what I'm going to buy on digital, like, I don't buy any manga digitally, actually, in my library, because I'm like, I'm not even in charge of our ebook budget. So different librarians are in charge of, like, different purchase areas, different selection areas. And I'm like, I don't even touch the ebooks.
Okay.
So it's like, that one's not up to me. But also, I think there's just, with limited digital budgets and people really in demand for like bestsellers, like the latest like James Patterson book in E, I think a lot of digital budgets go more to that. And then the other piece of it, I think, is that there are some services that offer digital comics, but none of them offer good digital manga. So I don't know, do you have Hoopla at your library?
Yes.
So Hoopla has like a lot of really good digital comics offerings. Like, I think Marvel comics are on there now, but like their manga selection is like real bad. Like, it is so lame. So I think a lot of libraries think, oh, we've got it covered. You know, we have like Hoopla, or we have like this Overdrive library. And really the manga offerings on there are not very good. So it is something that I have definitely looked into as a librarian, and I have like personally assaulted Kodansha people about this. like at Comic-Con, I'm like, why don't you make this more available? Because like, as a librarian, like, I actually want things in print. Like, I want to be able to put things on my shelves so that people can see them and find them.
Yeah.
And so, because digital is a little tougher, because people usually search in a digital catalog. They don't browse a digital catalog.
Oh, I'm highly aware. Yeah.
Right? You're not like, what manga can I get? You're like, I need to read House of the Sun. Do you have it? So it presents a little bit more of a challenge when it's not like a bestseller or something like that. So I would like to see more digital manga, but I understand why libraries aren't buying it. And I think it sucks because a lot of really good stuff is coming out in digital only, like especially from Kodansha. And then you like have to purchase it because your library doesn't have it.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, well, then they're just never gonna have House of this. Like, nobody's gonna be. So it's a self-reinforcing thing.
Right. Some libraries you can request that, like some libraries have digital like ebook systems where you can like request the book and then they'll buy it because they know that someone's like actually gonna go read it.
I mean, that makes sense. But I was just like, I've never seen a digital manga at the library, so I just assume this is a thing that people don't do.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, as digital budgets like expand in libraries and as people also like the apps and stuff are getting better to like read digital library content, like Libby and Hoopla and those kind of ones, I think are getting more user friendly, then we might see more and more digital offerings from libraries.
Okay, glad to know that this is a budget thing. Anyway, so now we're gonna spoil stuff.
Yay!
Be prepared. First, we will do a general character walkthrough, I guess, because there are many characters. They're all in love triangles.
They are. I mean, it's a shoujo romance. Like, what do we expect? You expect a character not to be in a love triangle?
You know, I'm always pleasantly surprised when it's just like, yeah, these two just like each other, and that's fine.
And that's it. And no one else likes them.
Yeah. And they're fine with each other.
They've never liked anyone else.
Yeah. And they'll get married and live happily forever.
Yeah,
after.
and the last volume, she will be wearing a wedding dress.
Yeah.
And this manga is only 2 volumes long because it was so easy.
Yeah. Easy peasy. But okay, so our main character is Mal.
Yeah, so Mao is our protagonist. Like we said, she's like 17. She's a second year in high school. And I really liked how Hiro describes her in his head, as he always thought of her as a girl holding back tears. I thought that was like really sad.
So poetic.
It is. It's very poetic, and it's also like super depressing.
I think what I like watching Mal is how everybody falls in love with her, but she's like kind of objectively not very good at things. And everybody knows this is because she like wasn't taught how to do stuff, and they're like, well, if you like teach her how to cook, she's fine. But like,
I know, except for they do teach her how to cook, and she's like still not fine. Like, she still
well,
sucks
it kind of
at
seems like her friend is like trolling her a little. I don't know.
I know. Yeah, Chi-chan is like, I got this. I'll teach you how to cook. But then like when anyone else eats the stuff that Chi-chan teaches her to cook, they're like, this is terrible. And I'm like, can Chi-chan cook?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I don't know what level is happening here, but I think Chi-chan is like trolling her is what's happening.
Yeah. But I think, well, so Mao is she's supposed to be a tomboy. And then in flashbacks, when she has like short hair and she's like a little kid, I see that more.
Oh yeah, definitely. Then I get confused.
Yeah.
Like,
and I'm like, oh, okay,
no.
this is why she was kind of like a weird kid. But she's like, I think she's actually a really sympathetic protagonist, because she's just very lonely. And like once you learn her family situation, you're like, yeah, that sucks. No wonder you are such like a sad and lonely person.
Yeah. Because okay, Mal's family is, so her mom is, her like biological mom is somewhere.
Yeah, her mom like left with her hot boyfriend, I guess.
And she gave Mao a choice to go with her. And Mao was like, I'm gonna stay with my dad for some reason.
Right. She stays with her dad, and her dad like hates her. Like, I don't understand this man. He is so mean.
I mean, I tried to really, really understand. So there's a chapter in which you get like Mao's dad's perspective, and it's also about the divorce and like the mom leaving and everything. And it's there that you see that like the mom was cheating on him, and so he has the question of like, is Mao even my child? And the mom of course replies like, yeah, totally, like why would you question that? But like clearly this question weighs on him heavily.
Yeah, that is a rough one. That is kind of my question about Mao's dad, and like he kind of like deserves his own segment, but like is he a redeemable character? Because he is so awful to her, and then Taamo kind of, she shows you like, you know, he had like he has this whole backstory with her mom, and like, you know, Mao was a little kid, so like she doesn't really know or understand everything that happens between her parents, but like his behavior towards Mao is like really like inexcusable.
I mean, yes, that's why I'm like, I tried to be like, is that a good enough reason for him to be this terrible? And it's like, no, because his actions so completely go against what he like internally says, at least.
Right. And he's also, I think there's an element of like him feeling like Mao betrayed him, because it's like, your mother left me, and like now so did you, by like leaving this house to go live with your childhood friend. And so like everyone leaves me, and like I'm the real victim here. And I'm like, but you're the parent, so like you need to like step up.
Yeah. It's definitely a situation where it's like he was testing Mao's love or something, and then Mao did the thing that's most logical based on her feelings of being like, well, you rejected me, so like I'm gonna go over here and not be so sad and lonely and try to like win your love in some weird way. And he's like, see, you failed my tests.
Yeah.
So,
and he's like, you left me just like your mother did, like you can stand on this house forever. So I don't know, so Mao's situation is tough, but yeah, she's kind of a little weirdo. She has really cute clothes, but she likes like really uncute things, is like kind of her her character type.
What is with this phallic thing that she's really obsessed with?
She's like really obsessed with this character that's like this. I don't even know how to describe it. It's like this weird, like squishy
It's
face,
a penis.
like bean person with like a top knot. I don't know. She like thinks it's adorable.
And I'm like, it's just a penis.
Yeah, and she has kind of this like shoujo girl like helplessness where she's like kind of like bad at housework and like bad at cooking, like we said, but it's like really because like no one has ever like taken the time with her, you know?
Yeah. She means well.
Yeah, she means well. And she's also like a girl who really like holds her feelings in, probably because she grew up in such like a cold and unloving household.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, no, my favorite scene definitely was the like Mao goes home for the brief period of time, because like the thing that I also don't understand is like the stepmom's position on anything, but we can get there. But like my favorite scene was when Mao goes back for a brief period of time and has the text exchange with Hiro of just like her being like, you suck, Hiro, and he's like, you suck at like holding in your feelings, and then she's just crying. I'm like, oh.
You know what? They are so cute. I love their interactions. I love that she's like, you suck, and he's just like, you suck more. Like, yeah, like, you guys are adorable. Or when he's like, they're in the restaurant and he's like, I got to see your stupid face, and she's like, your face is the most stupid. Like, yeah. This feels real to me.
Peak, like when people make fun of you, they actually are just so hella in love with you.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's like they're so like familiar with each other, and they do kind of treat each other like they grew up together. You know, they have that like brother sister vibe, which is like totally becoming not a sibling vibe.
Yeah, right. Mao's fun.
Yeah, she's like a kind of like a straightforward protagonist, and her biggest battle in this manga is like really with herself.
Yeah,
like
right?
And like trying to like figure out like what her feelings are and trying to like get them across to other people, we should mention her novel because the manga is named after her like blog.
Oh yeah, I really thought that was going to play a more prominent role throughout, but I'm like, it's like kind of a backseat thing. I mean, I'm waiting for it to blow up.
So she like writes this like cell phone novel, and it's called House of the Sun, and it's like it's like a fictionalized version of her life, and it kind of like connects several characters in the manga, but really it's like a diary. It's kind of just like how she like gets her like little feelings out.
Her little feelings.
Yeah. It's like all of her like wish fulfillment / like all the stuff that she like can't say to people in real life kind of like goes into her blog. Yeah,
and they name their dog after the dog in the novel.
The dog. It's like, yeah, it's like really
like full circle.
Inception.
See, right?
Like inside the manga, inside the blog. Yeah, so I feel like that is her biggest hurdle, is like there's like the romance plot, and like obviously that is always like an uphill battle for our characters to like have their feelings returned. But with Mao, I feel like a lot of it is internal. It's like being able to like express herself to like the people who are important to her.
Yeah, I feel like that's a struggle for most of these characters, except maybe her friends who we have on this list.
Yeah, okay, so Chi-chan and Oda are her school friends. And yeah, they are like probably the most straightforward characters in the manga. Like Oda, the boy who has a crush on her, he has like this spectacular confession scene where he's just like, I like you, and she's like, what?
I didn't see this coming, and he's like, what? How you not see it coming? I'm a straightforward person. Like,
yeah, he's like, it's like a powerful confession. And the thing that, I mean, this is like not like a rare thing in shoujo romance manga, but his like the powerfulness and confidence of his confession kind of like galvanizes Mao to like be more straightforward about her own feelings, even though she doesn't return his.
I really like that, yeah, because I'm like, oh, you know, this could have been like, this is a disaster. Oda likes me too. Like, what do I do? Now I have to reject him. And she's just like, thanks, Oda. Like, I like you in a different way, Oda.
Yeah, she was like, that was really inspiring. Like, I'm super not into you. But I like him as a character. He's totally like that alt love interest who is like a good guy. You like can't help it but being like, oh my god, I hope he finds happiness.
Yeah, I mean, he is definitely my least favorite of the like romantic interests for Mao, I guess.
But he's like a good, yeah, and I like his little backstory. He comes from like a house with like a bunch of sisters, and when you see him out with his sister, like when they see each other in that movie theater,
Yeah.
And his sister is like super overbearing. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is like his life. I get it.
He knows girls, man. He knows.
I know, he just gets girls.
Yeah. He also has the really stupid hair where like it crosses in front or whatever. And I'm like,
yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah,
oh, you're trying so hard to be a hot shoujo manga protagonist.
You know, he's so hot, and all the girls like him so much. But he likes Mao, the tomboy who wears like the cutest dresses in the world.
Of course he does.
But he's like one of those characters that you're like, I just hope that you like find something that makes you happy by the end of this, because you're so like straightforward and like sincere. And I like Mao totally like plays him by like going to him for advice about like her mom.
Okay,
quote,
yeah.
unquote.
I was like, this is super weird, Mao. Like, what is happening?
And then she's like, actually, psych, it was about the guy I like. And he's like, oh my God, what? That's totally different.
I don't know how he didn't hear those questions and be like, this is weird. I mean, I guess he was like, this is weird. Like,
yeah, he's like, it sounds like you're falling in love with your mom.
Yeah. Like, and he just goes with it, though. He's just like, okay. Like,
I know, he's like, but I'm going to be here for you. Like, if you need to talk about it, like, you come to me. And I was like, you are a good confidant, Oda. I like you. But then the whole thing is like, by confiding in Oda, she is neglecting her other friend, Chi-chan.
who teaches her how to cook badly.
And yeah, Chi is like one of those like friend characters, you know, who I feel like this is like an obligatory arc for friends in a lot of manga where they're like, I didn't want to like burden you by like telling you my problems. And then they're like, you idiot, like that. I'm your friend. Like, you're supposed to tell me your problem.
That's what we're friends for.
Right? That's what friendship is. It's like, I want to worry about you. And so she kind of goes with that with Chi-chan. But there's like the little love triangle there, right? Because Chi likes Oda and Oda likes Mao.
Yeah. That's difficult. They handle it all pretty well.
I know, they're pretty graceful for like 17-year-olds.
Yeah, exactly. They're like a little bit awkward, but mostly like, we are civil to each other. We do not blow up at school about it or anything.
Like Chi-chan has to like go in the bushes and like cry like once or twice.
It's fine.
Other than that, like Oda's a good guy. He's like, I can't return your feelings, but like, I'm not a dick. But also Chi-chan has like the dirtiest mind. Like,
oh yeah.
In the manga, like everything is like, oh, so innocent. And then Chi-chan's like, dude, are you guys having sex? And
did you
like,
go buy
what?
condoms? Like, surely Hiro has condoms. Like,
I know. I was like, whoa, Chi-chan, what is going on?
All that, you know, she's got to look at the phallic nonsense that Mao's into all the time. She's like, yeah, Mao, like, what are you into? Like,
well, I also feel like Chi-chan is like the real 17-year-old girl.
Yeah,
because she's the one who's like actually curious about like dating and sex and like, oh, have you kissed? And like, she's like all into it. And Mao is kind of like, derp, like, what is romance? Like, how do
I'm just trying to be friends and not be lonely. Like,
right. She's like, I just like have this dog and like weird stuff. And Chi-chan's like, so how far have you gone? Like, did you make it to second base?
What about third base? Ooh.
Yeah. So I feel like I like Chi-chan. She's a nice, straightforward friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so they have like one more age mate who doesn't come in until like later, but Daiki is also like their classmate. And he... Ashley, I feel like you have gravitated toward Daiki, like based on the outline you wrote.
I love him. I'm like, I did not expect this because he's kind of like a mean glasses-wearing dork in the beginning who's not good at video games. And I'm like, whatever, Daiki's just mean. And then he became like a hot warrior at their job who does his hair all nice and like wears contacts and stuff.
I know, he
like,
has like kind of a look like at work. I'm like, oh.
I was like, oh, you're like a hottie under there. Like, where were you hiding that? And then like slowly, I just feel like his feelings for Mao are pretty genuine, and like he can be a little mean, but like in a totally loving way. And I'm like, oh no, I don't know which of these brothers.
I'm torn.
I'm torn. I'm not normally torn in the love triangles. I'm like, oh no.
You know, Daiki is that character who's like, so yeah, he comes on as totally like the like tsundere glasses boy. He's like, I disapprove of this. Mao shouldn't live there.
Mao shouldn't live there. Definitely shouldn't fall in love with you.
Yeah, and then he like becomes like the kind of like rival against his own brother, which is tough.
Tough stuff.
I agree. He's like a very like sincere character.
Yeah, and he's trying.
Yeah, and he has his kind of own, because a lot of the manga is focused on like Mao's family situation and then like Hiro's family situation. And I like Daiki's perspective on the Nakamura family situation, I think is like different and interesting.
Yeah, from here, it's like all of these Nakamuras have their own little, I guess we haven't really explored Hina's yet, but they all seem to have different takes on what happened with their parents. And I liked Daiki when he was like, I now have 2 homes, because he was living with his aunt and uncle in Kobe.
Yeah.
and
they were like a very, like, obviously like a very loving family that like totally welcomed him and like took him in.
Yeah, but now he's like, oh, I'm conflicted because I do want to go back with Hiro, I guess. Like, he seems sincere, and I think he's kind of like, Hiro needs more help than I do. Like, Hiro's still struggling.
Yeah,
more.
I feel like that Daiki is like one of those very like perceptive characters. Like he like comes in and he like immediately like sees all the love triangles.
Yeah, he's like, it's so clear to me, all written all over all y'all's faces.
Yeah, he's like, you guys think you're so sneaky, but like you're hiding in the bushes and you're like blushing, so like I know everything that's happening. But he also, I think, has a lot more a clear-eyed look at Hiro's feelings than Hiro himself does. So I kind of agree. I feel like he feels like Hiro needs him there more than he needs to be at his aunt and uncle's house, where he was like perfectly comfortable and could have stayed. Yeah,
because he's like, Hiro has never, I think he still thinks that Hiro has never actually come to seriously grapple with the like grief that he feels, because he's like, this boy never cried. He just was like, well, now I'm the head, and so here's X, Y, and Z thing I need to do. And I think he's like, Hiro's like a robot, basically.
Yeah, Daiki kind of just like cuts through all the BS, and he's just like, you obviously like need therapy, or like or like
you need more than a turtle.
You need more than a turtle and a dog to feel whole. And then eventually like he becomes conflicted with his feelings for Mao. But I feel like, you know, a lot of age gap romances do this, where they kind of offer like more age appropriate romantic alternatives.
Yeah, but I just didn't expect to fall for it so hard.
But I mean, like, Daiki is one, and then like Oda is one. So like Mao has like all these like age appropriate romantic partners, but she's not going for it.
But Hiro though.
But Hiro, yeah. And then you brought up Hina. So like the Nakamura family is complex. But Hina's position in the manga is really interesting to me because she's barely in it.
Yeah.
At least up to volume 7, she has made very few appearances. But I feel like Taamo really sets Hina up as kind of like a foil to Mao. As like, partly because Mao is living in her room.
Yeah,
right.
Symbolism. Okay, yeah.
Like Mao, like literally, like Hiro got the room ready for Hina because he thought that Hina was gonna come back and live with him, and then that didn't pan out, and so that's why Mao had like a room to live in, is she like literally took Hina's place. But also, I think that once, like, he also pretends to his coworkers that Mao is his little sister, so he doesn't have to like have the awkward conversation. So he is kind of like treating her like as Hina's replacement in that way. And then I think Mao also has this awareness that like if Hina comes back to the house, like she's really not going to have a place there.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, it makes sense that she would be a foil to Hina also on a like feelings level. I mean, this hasn't like been explored yet, but like it would make sense to me because it's seen as Nakamura's definitely push back sometimes and are like, Mao still has her family, like her parents still are alive, so like send her back and all these things, whereas they're like, our parents are dead, we have nobody, like this isn't the same situation. But like clearly it is on some level. Like it's like, well, we both don't have parents who can love us, so that's really the condition, is the loving part.
That is rough. I think Daiki is like the first one who brings that up, is he's like, Mao needs to go home, like her parents are alive.
Yeah.
You know, like she can see them again, like we can never see our parents again. And I'm like, yeah, but does it count as like having parents when your parents are like awful?
Yeah. Are they're not really performing the parent part of like the duties of parents?
Yeah.
So then are they actually parents?
I actually really like that conversation. I don't know if you remember, they have it in like the graveyard when Daiki and Hiro go to visit their parents' grave and Mao doesn't come with them. And Daiki's like, she has to go home. Like, she has parents who are alive. Like, our parents are dead. Like, she needs to, like, be with her parents. And Hiro kind of, like, bridges the gap. And he's like, you know what? Like, our mom would have said, like, Mao, stay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know? Like, he was like, their mom was always like, Mao, like, come over and eat. Like, her mom was, like, always taking care of Mao. And he's like, this is, like, what our parents would want, is for us to, like, take care of her like our mom did. And I was like, my heart.
I know. Hiro, de facto mom.
I know, Hiro the mom. But Daiki's like, oh yeah, I guess that's true. So it's kind of like, is Mao like using them as like a replacement family, or are they like just taking care of her like they always did?
Yeah.
When she was little. But yeah, and Hina also doesn't want to go home, which I think it's like a tough feeling for Mao to deal with, because she's like, how can you not want to go home when you have such a loving home to come back to?
Yeah.
And it's like a tough feeling for Hiro to deal with, because he's like, I've been holding the fort here in this house alone, like all this time waiting for you guys to come back to me. And like, of course, Hina's the youngest of the Nakamuras, so she has been living with her relatives since she was like really little. So she's like has a whole life, you know, and she like has friends and goes to school. So I like kind of see her perspective of like, I don't need to like uproot myself. Like I'm here.
Yeah. And like the reason that Hiro presumably is very attached to like this house and them all living in it is because they've said repeatedly that Hiro is the one who like had his parents build a house there. And I'm like, okay, that's intense. And like,
yeah, Hiro has so much baggage.
I know.
He has like all this like guilty baggage where, yeah, like I think he is the one who like was like, we should move closer to dad's work, and so that's why they got the house. And then he like feels just like somehow responsible for like his parents' deaths and like his not being able to like keep his family together. Like Hiro has lots of issues.
But he's just like, I just keep smiling and working very, very hard, and I pet my dog, and it's fine. Like,
yeah, and I've got my dog and this girl that I'm taking care of like a pet.
Yeah.
But I think Mao, like, it's like, Hiro's like a mom.
He is, though.
He is, though. He's such a mom. But I think that he, like, wants to take on that role, as he's been kind of, like, waiting in the wings, like, all this time to, like, take back this, like, parental role and to, like, step into the shoes of his parents and take care of his siblings. And it's, like, turning out that his siblings, like, don't really need him to be in that role. But Mao really does. Like, that is what Mao needs.
But then what they really need is to make babies together.
Oh my god. Okay, as much as I'm rooting for Mao and Hiro, I'm also like Mao's dad being like, do you want to marry her? I'm like, you stop it right now.
Oh yeah. God.
Like, God, why are you being so gross and weird? Like, stop. And he was like, I just hope she marries Hiro and they have babies. I'm like, what's wrong with you?
It's like, isn't that what Mao wants? That's what Mao wants.
You're gross. God, Mao's family is just... Wait, can we talk about the stepmom? Because, like, what a thing. Like,
I'm very confused by her. I'm like, why do you like her dad? Like, what is going on here? Why are you here? How did this happen?
Yeah. So she is kind of like a non-entity in the beginning of the manga. Like, Mao's problems are kind of like all with her dad. And the stepmom does, like, nothing. Like, Mao, like, leaves the house, and dad's like, okay, bye. And, like, stepmom and her half-sister, like, don't even figure. And then, like, later, her stepmom is the one who, like, comes to reach out to Mao, which is nice, I guess.
It's nice, but it's like, why now? Like, what has changed? What makes you think this? Like,
right? It's like too little, too late.
Yeah.
But it's like, I can sort of see where she is coming from. Because, like, honestly, like, if I was married to this guy, first of all, how did you get married to this guy? Like,
exactly. I just want to know.
But it's like, she has this moment of like weird honesty when Mao comes over for her little sister's birthday, where she's like, oh, like at first when Mao left, I was like relieved because like I don't even like know how to relate to this high school girl, and she's like not my daughter. And so, you know, so I was like, nah, whatever, like she can leave the house. And I'm like, wow, that's brutally honest of you.
Yeah, I know.
She's like, no, like I'm just gonna love her like one of my own. Like that was not a thing.
Part of me is like, did she literally just come and reach out to Mao because the younger sister seems sad? Like, does she just, I don't know. Like,
I mean, I see her as kind of, because Mao's dad is like a huge big jerk face, but like obviously as cold as he seems to Mao, he like has a lot of like emotional issues surrounding like his daughter. So I'm sure that like stepmom as his wife is like, hello, my husband is like having like all these weird problems and like probably he needs to like deal with them. Right? Because like she's like, she sees it. And then, then there's the issue of like the little girl who thinks that like Mao left the house because she hates her.
That really made me sad. That one hurt.
I know. that one hurt. Well, and then it's kind of like not super, it's like it's not true, but it's not like untrue, because like one of the catalysts for Mao leaving is that she sees her sister sitting like in her chair at the table and is like, I have no place here. Like this little girl has like taken over my spot in this house, such as it was.
And like, wait, did her dad at like when they were giving presents to Mi-chan, did her dad give like the same bear that he had given Mao to? I was like, you are a little
did
jerk.
he?
I mean, it was a bear.
I did not even realize that, but it was. Oh yeah, God, he is just the worst. Also, he like insults Mao's present, which, to be honest, I would also not be happy to get as a little girl.
That's the one fair thing he did, Kelly.
Right? Well, but it's like, you know, even if I was like a 5-year-old, I'd be like, it's ugly. Why'd you give me your weird phallic top hat? But that's the time as a parent, right? That you're like, you know, sweetie, like just say thank you.
Yeah. And he's like, nah, you're right. That's weird. Look at Mao.
He's like, you're right.
Over
Look,
here.
Mao, you made her cry. I'm like, oh my God, what's wrong with you?
He's just so broken inside.
I know. So I feel like stepmom is like trying to be like a bridge and has realized that like she should have been like more of a parent and should have stepped in earlier, and sees how like I think she has a line where she's like when Mao left, it like blew a hole in this family.
Yeah. Oh, that one hurt too.
Yeah, and I think that I can like see that where it's like, well, she's unhappy, she should leave, but then it's like, okay, it's like this big elephant in the room, like, right?
Yeah,
is that like you're unhappy because your like daughter doesn't live here anymore and you have this weird relationship with her. Like the little girl thinks that her big sister left because she hates her. Like stepmom's in the middle, so like obviously it's like something that they all need to deal with. But I feel like I like want to give her credit to reaching out for Mao, but like that I keep taking back all the credit because of like the way that she handles her husband.
Part of me is like, yeah, do I give her the benefit of the doubt that she's like, okay, yeah, let's let Mao go do this weird thing, but then you'll see that it's wrong, so then she'll like come back really fast, and then that didn't happen, and she's like, oh, this is just spiraled completely out of control now. Like, oh,
yeah,
maybe I should do a thing. Like,
well, because it's like it's nice that she goes out and like reaches out to her, but then when Mao's in the house and her dad is like being a dick to her, stepmom is like, oh, like sweetheart, like don't like stand up for her. She's like, honey, aren't you gonna come say goodbye? And the dad's like, no, and she's just like, okay.
I mean, I can get that. She's like afraid probably a little bit of being too forceful, but I'm just like, ugh. This whole family is a mess.
I know. They all need family therapy.
I know.
You guys have so many problems.
Find a therapist so fast.
I know. But I feel like that part where Mao talks to her sister for like the first time in the manga, I think.
Yeah.
That they've ever spoken, like was really like touching.
Worth it. No, not worth it. Just be nice.
Where she's like, has never really like, and Mao is like sort of at fault for this too. She like never really reached out to her little sister because she always felt like her sister was replacing her. And then they end up having like this totally cute little bond.
I know.
She draws her
phallic
pictures. It's like, oh, that's nice. I feel like that is like the one like pure family connection that Mao has.
Yeah, right.
Her
At
little
this
sister.
point, yeah.
But okay, so I also really want to talk about Radical-san.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sugimoto, the office girl, the office Fujoshi.
Oh my. Yeah, I thought she would be older than she is. Isn't she like 20? It's very confusing.
Yeah, I think she's pretty young. She's like around 20. I think she's like pretty new to their job. So first of all, I'm just like, ugh, Japanese office culture.
Yeah, first of all, hella sexism, being like, your smile brings all the men in this office.
Yeah, everyone just
soothes them.
is so happy when they see you smile. And also her just being like casually sexually harassed by her boss. Just being like, so do you have a boyfriend? Like, how many men have you been with? And I'm like, oh my God, HR 911. So there's that. But I've read, like I said, I've read this manga a few times, and I feel like I liked Sugimoto like the least of all this time.
Ooh, yeah. Tell me about your evolution of feelings for Sugimoto.
Okay, so first of all, she's like another like age appropriate alternate love interest, right?
Yes.
Because she's like the appropriate love interest for Hiro, this girl who works in his office and is like 20.
Yeah, yeah.
And can go out to drink, unlike Mao. And she's like an awkward person who's like also dealing with her own stuff. Who is like, she's like never had a boyfriend.
She's
like,
obsessed with the Civil War and
yeah, she's obsessed with like
fan fiction.
Sengoku General Tate Masamune.
Yeah,
which is actually amazing. It's like my favorite part about her.
Okay.
She's like, I just have to go home and like write my Date Kojiro fix. And I'm like, you do you, Sugimoto. But this obviously makes you so happy.
It's what makes her so weird.
I know. She just loves Date Masamune. I love how she like refers to him as like Ma-kun, I think. And then like when Mao meets her, she's like, is this her boyfriend? Like who? Like, who is Ma-kun? She's like, oh, the Sengoku warlord Date Masamune.
Yeah, I love how confused Mao is in the beginning. She's like, I have no idea what words you are spouting right now.
I know, and like Mao should know too, because she likes like historical dramas. So, like, she kind of, like, lives in her own little world, and, like, her, like, just similar to Mao, right? She's, like, another foil for Mao. Whereas, like, she is also struggles with, like, expressing herself clearly to people and, like, making her feelings known. But, I don't know, this time around, I just found her, like, a little more, like, sly. Is that, like, the wrong word? Like, the way that I feel like she has good intentions, but, like, the way that okay, the thing with the novel, where she tells Hiro that she is Kukai-san, the one who wrote the novel. I'm like, oh, you.
Yeah. I was like, no, this is a jerk move right now.
Like, this is not cool. This is not okay. I don't know, like, especially in contrast to characters like Oda and Chi-chan, who are, like, really straightforward with their feelings. Like, Sugimoto is not, right? And that's, like, one of her issues. But she kind of, like, I don't know. She like hides behind this like innocent girl thing where now I feel like really bitter about her, I guess. Okay. Where she's just like, I don't know romance and like I don't know what to say. So like, but the way that she treats Mao is like, I don't know. I don't really. How did you feel about it? Seeing it with fresh eyes.
The way that she treats Mao is like. She's like, oh, we're the same. And then Mao, like, shows her all the ways in which they're not the same, basically.
Yeah, that's true.
And then, the whole thing with the novel happens. So Mao is like, wow, I just, like, massively sort of misjudged your character, I guess, because this is a jerk move. And, like...
Yeah, well, because, like, Sugimoto, like, approaches Mao as a fan, right? Where she is like, oh, I love your novel, and, like, we should talk and get together. And then Mao is kind of, like, not really what she expected her to be.
Yeah. It's classic, like, fan meets creator, and then, like, oh, we are not, that doesn't mean anything. Like, just because you like my work doesn't make this connection a thing.
And then the way that she reacts when she because like Mao like totally like works up her courage, you know, to like be like, actually the guy you like is the guy that I live with.
Yeah.
Like, sorry. And it like, you know, she like takes her all her little courage to like tell her, and then her reaction is like, I mean, I don't know that I would react better than her, but it's not really like you know how like sometimes in shoujo romance manga it's like, well, like, I'm going to keep trying hard to, like, win his love, and, like, you keep trying too, you know?
Yeah.
It's not really that, like, respectful rival thing. It's more of, like, she's like, how can I, like, get on the inside?
And then she had the chance to redeem herself, I feel, because she, at some point, was like, I'm going to tell Hiro that I didn't write the novel or whatever, and then she does not do that.
Yeah, and I'm like, this is so unacceptable. Like, because the whole thing is, like, Hiro, like, the novel is like, I get why Mao doesn't want Hiro to know that she wrote the novel, because it is like literally about him.
Whoops.
Right? It's like totally about him and like her feelings for him. And so him knowing that she wrote the novel is like tantamount to her just like confessing that she's in love with him. But also like Sugimoto being like, oh, I wrote it. And then him being like, oh my God, that's so amazing. You're so amazing. And her just being like, uh-huh.
Yeah.
I'm like, you like took, like, co-opted like all of Mao's feelings about like her family and like made them yours, and that's so uncool.
I know. And then, oh yeah, in that conversation where she's like, I'm going to tell Hiro the truth, doesn't she just be like, I'm not going to update for a while? And I'm like, are you dictating Mao's act? Like, Mao is the one who writes this? Like, what is happening? I'm so confused.
Yeah, and she's like, I can't tell him, or like, I don't have like the courage, or I just want him to like me, and I don't know how to like say I didn't write it without explaining that Mao did, and like, but I'm just like, you just need to like be a better person. Like, you have, like, she's, like, 20 and Mao is, like, 17, but I feel like she is just, like, more immature.
Yeah. Well, one of the points that I had written down that flows with this is that I feel like all the bad characters that we have mentioned are particularly trapped by, like, so there are powers of influence, right? There are 6 of them. One of them is being consistent. And so, like, I feel like these characters in particular are very, very trapped into, like, well, I said this one thing once, so if I don't keep playing like that, then they'll just think I'm an inconsistent liar, and I don't want to be that.
Flip-flopper.
So, yeah, so, like, I just have to keep going down this path. So, like, Mao's dad is like, well, you know, I kicked her out, so, like, I guess I gotta keep playing like I don't like her, and I'm just like, okay, but you don't. And then Sugimoto's like, I told him I wrote this novel, and, like, that's the one thing that keeps us connected, so, like, okay, I'll just keep playing like I write this novel.
Yeah, I can't take it back now. We're just gonna be stuck like this forever.
Yeah.
But, yeah, and then, like, particularly, it's in, like, the 5th or 6th volume where she, like, insists that they go to, like, that place where Mao works for dinner.
Oh, yeah.
So that she can, I mean, I feel, that's the thing, is I feel like she's not really, like, an underhanded or sneaky person, but I feel like her behavior is just not good, where she's like, oh, let's go. And, like, she knows, like, Mao's gonna see them together.
Yeah, she's totally trying to rub it in.
Right? And I'm just like, girl,
get it together.
Like, what is this about? Like, you need to find a better outlet for your feelings than, like, dumping on this, like, 17-year-old girl who's homeless.
Right? It's so mean. When you put it like that, it's just like, wow, you're just really mean.
And then I think finally we should talk about Hiro, because Hiro is like a complex person, and I really like him as a love interest, but he needs a therapist.
And he is central to like everybody else's story. He's like, I am the axis upon which you all gravitate.
Yeah, he is. I think that is right. Even more so than Mao, even though she is the protagonist. Hiro is really the person that around like which everything revolves. Like him and his house.
Yes, 100%.
The house of the sun, as it were. Well, it's because like his siblings are like in orbit with him, and then like Sugimoto and his throwaway office friend who we like, I don't even know his name.
Fujitaka, I think. Something like that.
Yeah.
Only because Sugimoto is like, I picture him like on, you know, Hiro's bottom, and
oh
Fujitaka's
yeah,
like,
Hiro's the bottom. He's like, what if Hiro's a power bottom? And I was like, Hiro would be a power bottom. Like, I agree.
Headcanon confirmed.
like for sure I see that. But and then his relationship with Mao's family, I think, is also really interesting. Like, he like openly hates Mao's dad.
I mean, as he should. Somebody needs to.
As anyone would who has sense.
Yeah. I love every time the dad comes and is like, take my money, Hiro. Marry my daughter, Hiro. And he's like, no, thank you.
Right. And he's like, I don't want your filthy money. Get out of here. But I feel Hiro like occupies a weird position with Mao's dad where he is like sort of a kid to him, right? Because like Mao and Hiro like grew up together and his dad like knew him as a kid. But then also he's like in the position of being like the adult and like sort of Mao's guardian.
Yeah, he's like, how do I treat this man? I don't know.
Right. But I like how he's just so straightforwardly like pissed off at him like every time he sees him. I'm like, this is what I need from stepmom.
Yeah, where's the stepmom's anger like this? Like, ugh.
Hiro's like throwing money back on the table. It's like, I don't need this.
Don't ever come to my house again with your filthy ransom money.
Yeah. God, her dad is so bad. Oh my God, we didn't even talk about the part where Oda like comes to her house. And her dad's like, she don't live here no more.
Sorry.
Like, what's wrong with you? Why do you think this is okay? But Hiro, so what I want to hear from you, Ashley, is whether you think Hiro is being like Mr. Honorable in like how he treats the romance with Mao, or if he's being like wishy-washy and waffly.
I think he wants to be honorable, and then he has moments where he's like, it's so hard to do this. And just like he's like, some of those come when he's drunk, so you're like, okay, fine, his guard is down or whatever, right. Sure. But then like the stuff where Mao like kisses him on the cheek towards the end, and then he like kisses her back, I'm like, Hiro, you know what you're doing. Like,
yeah. I was like, oh, also like Mao brazenly makes the first move there. I was like, damn, girl.
Good job, Mao.
I was like, you go get it. Yeah, that's so funny about this manga is that like that is like chaste kisses on the cheek and like holding hands are like kind of like as far as the romance gets at this point. And then Chi-chan's like, do y'all have condoms? I'm like, oh my God, Chi, like we are so far from the condom stage.
Excuse me, sometimes Mao is just like, oh, Hiro's sleeping. What if I just lay on top of him? I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, we'll just like snuggle.
So, like, I definitely feel like Hiro never initiates anything. And so in that way, he's being honorable. But then he'll reciprocate things, so... Yeah,
that's true. Like, I totally get his position where he's like... Also, I feel like part of him being so, like, nothing can happen between us is that he needs to, like, stick it to Mao's dad.
Yeah, right? No, that's definitely... He's just like, I hate Mao's dad. Mao's dad wants this as an outcome, so, like... This can't be an outcome. Like,
right. And also he's like, I need to be like the adult human who's like, he's like, this arrangement is going to be like totally unacceptable. Right. If I'm like preying on like a high school girl. But I do, for a while, I was like, does he like Sugimoto?
No, he clearly does not.
He clearly does not. No, he's clearly just like super dense.
Yeah. I don't even think he's, like, giving her that many hints that he likes her. Like, he's like, I'm exasperated going to this restaurant again. Like, can we do this quickly? And...
I know. Kind of like the signals that she's picking up are just him being, like, a decent human.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Like, she's like, oh, he saved me from my boss. And I was like, well, yeah, because, like, a normal human would, like, not find it acceptable for your boss to, like, weirdly sexually harass you in the office.
Yeah, isn't it always bad that it's like, oh, the person who saved me from the sexual harasser, I should go fall in love with them because, like, they're the only, like, decent ones. And I'm like,
right?
Like I don't understand.
Like, calm down. And then on the other hand, I'm like, is he being, like, because he basically knows Mao's feelings for him.
Yeah, she's told him at least twice.
she's told him a few times, and like part of it is I think he's kind of like in denial, and he's like, no, she's like a sister to me, and I'm like, is she though?
She saw you come out the shower.
Yeah, girl. She's like, isn't there a part where she's like, did I see it?
Yeah.
Oh my God. And I feel like at that point they still do have more of like a brother sister vibe. So it's like not as weird as it would be like on volume 7.
Yeah.
But I'm like, oh, guys, cohabiting. So yeah, I'm like, he like knows how she feels and is like sort of being like purposely dense.
Yes.
Right? By like not respond. Like speaking of responding straightforward to people's feelings, right? Like Mao does to Oda. She's like, sorry. And like Oda like clearly rejects Chi-chan, but like Hiro's just like, let's talk about this later.
Yeah. Okay, wait. The thing that makes him wishy-washy, team wishy-washy here, is that now he knows Daiki, like he's getting signals that Daiki likes her, right? So he's like, wait, I don't like this. And like,
oh yeah, that's so true. Okay, that's why I kind of also really like Daiki as like love rival, because he's like, well, what would you do if we dated? And he's like, you're making me so mad right now. It's like, but why? And I'm like, you're in love. That's why. Yeah, Daiki is really like, he knows how to like stir it up with his brother.
Daiki's like, I have all of the buttons.
I know, it's like, I will push them at will. But Hiro, here's the other thing I want to know your opinion on, Ashley. Do you think Hiro is, because I think Hiro sees himself as selfish for wanting to like put his family back together.
Yes.
And that he is like forcing like Daiki and Hina to come back. And I feel like he even feels like kind of selfish for like having Mao stay with him, because like he's like the lonely one and Mao is like filling up his house.
Yeah.
But like, is that a selfish wish?
Okay. I think with Mao, it's like not selfish because Mao reciprocates what he wants, right? Like she is team like, I want to live in Hiro's house because my dad hates me. And like, that's no fun. I know. Hiro
that
likes
is one
me.
Thing I wish they would like communicate with each other better. So I feel like she wants to live there and he wants her to live there, but she's like, but I'm a burden. And he's like, but I'm forcing her to stay and she should go home. And I'm like, you guys should just live together. It's fine.
Yeah, so like they miscommunicate about it, but we know as readers that they both are like, this is a mutually agreed upon thing. Like,
yeah, like we're both getting emotional benefits from having each other to lean on.
Right. But with Hina, who clearly is like, I don't want to come home and all these things, it's kind of like, how far should Hiro push, right? Like, what's the boundary there? And I think in his mind, I guess what Daiki did is the thing that makes the most sense. Is like, he kept pushing Daiki, and then Daiki was like, okay, I'll come for like a summer, right? And like, goes out. And then he decided, he was like, okay, this is fine, this is cool, like, let's do it. So it's kind of unfair for Hina to be like, I don't want to do this at all, without knowing what it would be, like, without even like really seeing them. Like, she was like, don't, you know, they see her at the fireworks festival,
and she's like, don't look for me.
Yeah,
like, oh my god,
leave me. So like on that level, like, it's just a little unfair of her, but at the same time, I'm like, Hiro, you kind of have to respect people who have like not grown up with you for several years now, and their feelings of being like, whatever, my life is fine now. So
I know, I feel like it's so hard because he really did like make a lot of sacrifices to hold on to like the family home, you know?
I know, but at the same time, that's what's always hard about human relationships, is that it's like, you can do a thing and you can do it for somebody else, but that doesn't mean that somebody else is their own person. They don't have to,
right? It's like you kind of like chose to like do that, and then Hina was kind of like living her own life all this time and like dealing with grief in her own way. And I think that's also the piece that makes it hard, is because their parents died and they were just like almost immediately were split up. And so all of them grieved separately and found like their own way forward. And Hiro's was very much like, I'm going to be the martyr. Like, I'm going to work through high school so like I can preserve our home and like we can all come back someday. And like Daiki and Hina's response was like, they went out and like kind of made their own lives.
Yeah, they were like, no, we're cool living with these other adults who take care of us, and we made friends and live in this other community, and it's fine. Like, so yeah, so Hiro's not being selfish. It's just a matter of like, maybe at some point you do have to give up on Hina, you know?
Right. I'm like, maybe Hina just like isn't gonna come home. But I was like, also like maybe Hina could like be a little nicer.
Yeah. Hina could also definitely be nicer about the situation.
Maybe Hina could like give her family a call on their birthdays or something and like be a little nicer. And I feel like I said, I think it's a little hard for her because she is the youngest.
Yeah.
And so she has been like probably has like the least memory of their parents and what it is like to live all together. But I'm still like, but Hina, like, come on, throw them a bone at least, like go visit or something.
Yeah, I also wonder, like, in their minds, since Hina's was younger, perhaps she would have weird associations of killing their parents or whatever, because isn't the whole situation that, like, they were going to go shopping, it was raining, and then they were all supposed to go, but Hina got sick.
Yeah.
So then, like, Daiki and Hiro were both like, we'll stay home with her, and she's, like, a little upset by that, 'cause she's like, I wanted to go, like, buy this thing with them. They're like, it's fine. They'll just bring it back or whatever.
Right.
And so does Hina have more guilt being like, oh, maybe if we were there.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. You have to wonder because we don't really know what's going on in Hina's head yet. Like what her reactions were to it. Because like they all kind of have their own little hangups. Like Daiki like really hates the rain because like his parents died on like a rainy day. Which I thought, like, one of my favorite moments was, like, when they're in that scene in the graveyard when they're talking and then they, like, remember their mom, like, bringing them umbrellas. And then Mao comes and brings the umbrellas. I was like,
They're like, why can't we ever just remember to bring our own umbrellas?
Why don't we just carry umbrellas when it's raining?
Damn it.
But I actually, in the outline you sent me, you wrote, like, umbrellas as a shield, and I was like, oh my god, that's like totally true because it's totally like in those scenes kind of like the umbrella is kind of like a symbol of like their mom's love, like protecting them from the elements. And I was like, ugh.
I know, so tragic.
This
Rain,
is so,
pathetic
this
fallacy.
is so rough. I know, it's so sad and everyone's dead and it's raining. As always.
Classic. Oh yeah, I'm excited to learn about Hina, I guess. Basically.
Yeah, like, I do want to know more what's going on with Hina. The things that I'm, like, looking forward to in the next volumes, I think, are, like, figuring out what's going on in Hina's head. Because, like, she can't just be, like, a jerk, right? Yeah. There's got to be more going on with Hina than, like, I don't want to see you guys.
Can't be Mao's dad level.
No one is Mao's dad tier. Although Mao's mom also, like, we didn't talk about her, but, like, she seems pretty awful, too.
I mean, yeah. She did nothing redeeming, no. No,
she was like, I'm leaving with my boyfriend. Bye. And I was like, okay, bye.
She's like, I accept Mal. I hate anytime parents accept a child's answer of anything. Like, it's like, oh, Mal chose you, so.
Mal chose. And I'm like, Mal's like 6. Like, you don't need to calm down.
I still hold a grudge even, like, when I was 15, I got, like, bronchitis or something. My parents were like, you should go to the doctor. And I said, no. So they didn't take me. And then it got so bad that I was like, take me to the doctor. And they were like, no, now you've had it for so long. Like, I don't want to pay for antibiotics.
Oh my God. Are you okay?
I had it for like a month, like solidly like terrible symptoms for like a month.
I know. Well, it's also awful because like, I mean, in your situation, I'm glad you got better.
Yeah.
Thank God. But in Mao's, it like totally puts this responsibility on her, right? That totally shouldn't be the responsibility of like a 6 or 7-year-old, where it's like, oh, you don't want to come live with me and a strange man in a location you've never been? Well, I guess you've made your final decision.
Yeah, finally.
Like, and then like she's like, well, I chose to stay here. And I'm like, no! Like, this is not your fault.
Right? It's like, no, change of mind should have been like allowed. Like there should have been
right. And then it's like even if Mao could decide to go live with her mom, like I don't know if she would.
That's true. But again, I feel like the openness should have been like, okay, let me go test this out for a month and see like how awful it is.
You guys are just both really bad parents. I think we can all agree that you guys are terrible parents, and the only good parents were the Nakamuras, and now they're dead.
Why?
Now they're dead, and Hiro lives alone with a turtle.
That really is the summation of this manga.
But yeah, also I'm like hoping that like Oda and Chi-chan find love because I am shipping them.
Really? Ship them?
I don't know. Are you?
Not really.
Really? Okay, tell me who are you shipping? What is your hoped for outcome?
I don't know. It's so hard. Okay, clearly not like Sugimoto. No, get out. Why are you here? Like, why?
No, yeah, go like read your doujin. Like, I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
I have like no patience with her as of volume 7. I'm like, I can't even with you.
Go fall in love with Fujitaka or something, you know, like just go.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm really starting to be like, but Daiki.
Oh no. I know, because Daiki is so tough because like Oda is kind of easy to like brush aside as like an alternate love interest for Mao because he's like, I'm just so sincere, but also I'm like a prince of the school type who everyone's in love with.
Yeah. Like he'll be fine.
Oda will land on his feet. He is okay. Also, he comes from like a super loving family. Like he has no issues. He's cool. But Daiki is like, he's actually Mao's age mate. Like even though like her romance plot is with Hiro and like her like foil is Hina, like Daiki's the one who's actually the same age as her.
Yeah. Ugh. And they're in the same class, and he maneuvered that. I'm like, oh,
I know. And he's also so like straightforward about it. She's like, how did this happen? He's like, I asked for it.
He's like, it's funny what you get for when you just ask. Like, it's magical. Yeah. So I know that in the end, like Hiro and Mao probably have to get together. But in my heart of hearts, I'm like, Daiki.
Daiki. I know. Poor Daiki. Daiki deserves happiness too.
I know. Well, see, I think that's also the problem is that I'm like, but if Daiki doesn't get with Mao, then there's nobody that I've been presented that I'm like, oh, that's who he ends up with.
This is an acceptable alternative for Daiki. I know that's true because like I think Oda and Chi-chan are like totally gonna end up together because like they're obviously like he rejected her, but he's they're still
they're gonna slowly fall in love. And
they're gonna like they're like rotating around. They're orbiting around each other a little bit in the background. But yeah, Daiki's kind of like there's no alt path for him.
I mean, he could be like a healthy non-shoujo person who like goes and finds love when he's like 28 with some person after he's dated
whatever.
like 10
no.
times.
No one cares about that.
Nobody gives a crap about those stories.
Oh,
that's dumb.
Yeah, no one cares. Yeah, I mean, Daiki, he is very confident in himself, so I'm sure that he would be fine. I like that he knows how to needle his brother.
He's also good at using how tall he is. He's like,
oh yeah,
what's up?
Also,
yeah, I'm looking down at you, literally.
Also, he's very smart. So Daiki has a lot going for him.
I know that he's a pure boy. I want to give him a hug.
But I feel like because Mao and Hiro is like, we're basically like brother and sister, and I'm like, okay. But I feel like Mao and Daiki really are more like brother and sister.
In the way that they like rib each other, yeah.
Yeah, and like Hiro like gets kind of jealous of it, right? Where they're kind of like being dorks together and like going to work together and like just like ribbing on each other, and Hiro's like hump. Like
He's like, is this the glowingness of youth? What is happening?
Yeah, I like how Hiro's like, I'm so old. And I'm like, oh my god, you're 24. Shut up, Hiro, you big jerk. It's like, they're so young and pure and full of life. And I'm like, ugh, wait till you're 30, Hiro. Then we'll have a talk. But that relationship that they have, like, I feel like the reason that Hiro and Mao don't have as much of that, even though they have a little bit, like, you suck more, is that they are having more of like that like romantic spark, which is making them more self-conscious around each other. And like Mao and Daiki are just they like totally act like siblings. But
especially from Mao's perspective, she's just like, oh, Daiki, I want to like kiss your brother right now, so I'm just gonna go in your room instead.
Oh my god. Mao hiding in Daiki's room is like probably my favorite thing. She's like, why are you here? And she's just like, no reason.
Let's study.
We're studying so hard.
Will you let me kick your butt in Soul Calibur?
Yeah, I feel like Daiki can see Mao as a love interest, but I don't think Mao would ever be able to see Daiki as more than a brother.
Fine.
Unless there was a radical event.
Well, I don't know. Is there a radical event?
I don't know. I guess we'll have to find out on the next podcast.
Okay, pause. I loved the side chapter in which Daiki got drunk because Mao was like, I thought this was water.
Oh my god. I feel like Daiki has like a few good like omake chapters.
And I'm like, oh my god, I love this boy.
Also the one where, this one was like not as funny, but the one where he remembers like telling Mao that her hair looked ugly in her bow when they were kids. I was like, that one kind of like hurt a little bit because it's like she like wore her hair in a little braid and she must have done it herself, right? Because like her dad sucks. And Daiki's like, it looks awful. You should never wear your hair like that, because he's being like a dumb little like tsundere kid who's like telling the girl he likes that she's ugly.
Yeah.
And she's like, fine, blah. And then like Hiro's the one who's like, he's like a few years older. So he's like, oh, you look really cute. And he's like more mature, you know? But then she like never wears her hair like that again. And I was like, oh my God.
I know. I was like, Daiki, look what you
Daiki,
did.
why'd you do that? She looked so cute. You knew she looked cute.
And you know
Why are you lying to yourself?
I'm just a sucker for tsunderes, so like Daiki is just like, oh, here he is.
I know, he really is. But I feel like that chapter is kind of like even though it's just like a little omake, it like perfectly contrasts like the Daiki versus Hiro, where Hiro, because he's like a little older, is like a little more mature and has been able to have that relationship with Mao where he is more of like a protector of her and like looks out for her, like he looks out for his younger siblings, where he like sees her crying on the road and he like stops and talks to her, whereas like Daiki is like their age mates, so it's just been like, you're stupid, no, you are stupid. Your hair looks ugly,
you suck at games. No. Like,
yeah, so their relationship has always been more like that.
Fine, I just want Daiki to find happiness. Okay?
I know, Daiki's a good boy. He really
like,
is.
I'm confident about everybody else's happiness except Sugimoto's, who I don't really care about at this point, but like...
No, see, I like brought you over to like the anti-Sugimoto train.
Yeah, like you brought me over pretty hard. Like, I'm like, she was okay before, but now I'm like, no.
I just need her to like grow up, okay?
Yeah. She's trying to steal the love of an orphan girl. So rude.
I know. Well, also she's just like I kind of get her because she's like kind of like naive and stuff, but I feel like she's like using her like naivete as like a weapon.
Yeah.
And like as an excuse, because she's like, well, I don't know what to do. Like, is this not acceptable? And I'm like, no, it's not acceptable.
But Mal's just like, oh, she's older, so like, I guess I can't say anything. I'm like, Mal, you tell her.
I know, tell her off, Mal. Dude, you know who would tell her off is Chi-chan.
Yeah, right?
Chi-chan would like get up in her face.
And be like, how dare you? How
yeah, Chi-chan would be like, you are being horrible.
Give back my friend's novel. Let her have the sex with
yeah.
with Hiro.
She's trying to get laid, and Mal's like, wait, hold on.
That's not what I said.
No, we like held hands, like it's fine. I also like this manga is like so innocent in that it does like the whole like full face blush.
Oh yeah.
Like full,
not just like a little
everything.
tinge on the cheek, but like your whole body just became red.
Full blush, I know. And then they're like, we held hands once.
Oh no, we held hands again. Like,
what are we gonna do? I know. Oh my gosh, when Daiki like holds her hand because he's like taking her away from that like dude who's hitting on her, and like, Daiki, you're hurting me right now.
Daiki, I love you.
It's like, I feel like your love is futile.
But Daiki,
you're hurting us all. You're hurting yourself. You're hurting me.
I love when he was like, wait, I can't tell if he was playing her too, because he was like, I'm not wearing my glasses, so I can only see you if I'm like about to kiss you.
I wondered that too. We didn't get omniscient view of that. Like, did he really?
Because then he was
glasses?
leading them down the street. So I was like, well, but wait a second.
I know. I'm like, did you really forget your glasses, Daiki, or are you just being Mr. Sly over here? I'm genuinely unsure because like for Daiki, it could like totally go either way.
I know. So I'm like, I don't know about this, Daiki. Like, I didn't buy this little story you gave about forgetting your glasses.
You know, I don't
believe you.
So, would you be happy if Mao ended up with Hiro, or would you be squicked?
Oh, I think I would be fine with it. Because, I mean, it's like, it's always so hard with these. Because I get that it's like, yeah, we have age limits for a reason, and Mao is not a fully developed adult. But, like, she will be in, like, half a year. And, like,
I know. I'm like, she's 17. Like, she's not, like, 14, you know?
Yeah. And then as their age, like, their current age gap, it's not, like, 20 years. It's, like, what, 7? Like...
Yeah, I feel like it is surmountable.
Yeah, it's so, I mean, I don't know. I always just try to think of it as like, you know, as you get older, those gaps matter so much less, right? Like when you're 40 and Mao's 33, it's like, okay.
Yeah, you're like,
nobody cares.
No big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it would be worse if Mao was like in 8th grade.
If Mao was in 8th grade, I would have different feelings.
You'd be like, yeah, that's weird.
And I guess for me, whenever I read stories about childhood friends that become lovers, it's kind of always a question of like, yeah, so, you know, what makes you love a person? Like, does growing up with them and kind of shaping them consciously, unconsciously to your will, like we just mentioned Daiki being like, don't wear your braid like that, and that like severely affects Mao, right? Like that's a concrete thing. And it's always just like, you know, how much have you shaped each other for each other versus like how much do you need to be your own person? And like,
yeah. And I will say I am a sucker for like the childhood friends to lovers plot. So for me,
teen romance.
Like, this is fine. Well, yeah, because it's always like we had all these feelings for each other, but we didn't know they were love. And I'm like, oh.
I mean, that's fair. It's like I would be very curious to. I guess I should try to like look this up or something. Of like, do romantic relationships that started as just friendships normally like last longer? Is it the same? Does it matter? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. Yeah, who can say?
Who can say?
we need a manga about that.
Yeah,
we need a manga about people who are like childhood friends who like got together in a shoujo manga, and then like 10 years later, like how are they doing?
Yeah, are they broken up? Are they like, I don't know, like
are they fine? But I think that the other thing with the Hiro and Mal being like childhood friends is like because family is such a big, huge theme in this manga. It's like they're kind of like the logical way to like make each other's families because they already like have that bond.
Yeah, it's always a question of two is like, you know, I feel like family comes up as a lot in shoujo manga as a theme, and it's like, yeah, that obviously goes very well with romance because when you get married, then you like make somebody who wasn't your family be your family, and then you like expand it. So like it's always like, what is the line here? And like found families, it's like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like you can just
I know, and I am also a sucker for found family stories. So I'm like, this one just hits all my buttons.
That's why House of the Sun. One of Kelly's favorite mangas.
But I mean, it is true. It's funny because like the like orphan shoujo is like such a trope in shoujo manga, right? Where it's like, I have nowhere to go and no family. And so like I have to make my own family.
But also everybody's in love with me.
Right? Like Fruits Basket, Kami-sama Kiss. I have no family and nowhere to go. Nowhere. Someone must take me in. I am an independent girl making my own way in the world with no support. And Mao is kind of an orphan shoujo. But the whole manga is like families like breaking apart and then like coming back together. Sort of like the Lord of the Rings plot of families. But then I think like making your own family is like also big because like their little family starts like it's just Hiro and then it's like Hiro and it's Hiro and Wakaba-chan.
Yeah. How dare you try to discredit?
How could I forget the turtle? And then it's Hiro and Wakaba-chan and Mao. and then they get croquet, right?
Yeah.
And then they get Daiki. So it's like they're kind of making their own little family group that they all can like feel happy and comfortable in, even though like their parents are dead and her parents are terrible.
No, they're definitely like a found family that I'm like, okay, y'all are gonna like actually marry each other though, and like become an actual family.
I know.
So, like...
I have to say that like in shoujo manga, even though so many of them end with like weddings, like the wedding dress on the final volume is so classic. Like sometimes I'm like, meh, like I didn't really need to see you guys get married. That like wasn't.
Yeah, you're like, I didn't need to read this chapter. Like,
right? I don't know. Like, that's how I felt about what's that manga? My Little Monster.
Oh yeah,
where they like there's like a flash forward and it's like they got married, and I'm like, I don't really care. Like, like it's kind of weird, but yeah. And I feel like I would feel the same in Taamo no Ie. Like, I'm like, I don't really need to see you all get married. Also, because like it'd be weird with your dad. Like, but I do want to see them like.
You want to see them kiss?
Yeah, and like kind of just like admit to each other that they are both like happiest when they're with each other. Although I do get why Mao feels like she needs to move out.
Oh, definitely. So Mao is like being reasonable, and she's like, I should probably not be here.
I know, well, because Mao is like, I should not live here. A, because I feel like I am like a burden, which I'm like, no, you're not, Mao. But also because she's like, my romance plot cannot proceed if I'm living here. And I'm like, I totally agree.
Exactly.
Because as long as you're living under Hiro's roof, your Hiro's your guardian, and that makes it weird.
Yeah, that's weird. I do love when they go grocery shopping, though.
I do, too. And Hiro's such a mom, and he's like, I need you to go get 24 eggs.
Yeah.
Right now.
I love that he's like, oh my god, guys, we have to take advantage of every sale, and it's per person, so there's 3 of us now. Oh my god. It's so
I know.
good.
I'm like, do grocery stores in Japan really work like this? Like,
I don't know. It does seem like a lot of work, right? Like,
because it's such like a manga trope to be like, there's a sale at the supermarket, like, gotta stock up. And I'm like, does this happen? Like, is this like a real life
I have
problem?
to assume it's real. Yeah.
So people are like, wait, we have to go get like all of the toilet paper.
Yeah.
Like 2 cents a roll. Get all your friends. Get all your friends.
Oh
Everyone
gosh.
grab some. Like, this is really a communal event. Like, I didn't realize this was such a thing. But yeah, they're so, like, domestically, they're like super cute together. And Mao's like trying to do all the chores, and she sucks at it. Poor Mao.
But they did the slipper thing where they made slipper, you just, you know, stomp around and clean the floor. I'm like, oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that is true. Okay, I also like, speaking of like their domestic life, and I feel like this manga is also kind of like slice of lifey, even though.
Okay, I literally just listened to your one panel later episode about this, and I was like, is this a slice of life? Now I doubt myself.
I know, you're like, there's so much more to this than I thought.
I know.
That happened to me too when I recorded that podcast. I'm like, is this a slice of life? I don't know. Like, is this really a slice of their life? But I
don't know
feel
anymore.
like this manga has slice of lifey elements though, right? Which is funny because like not having read it for a little while and then rereading again before this podcast, I was like, I kind of like primarily in my mind remember it as like fluffy, slice of lifey, like comfy romance. And then like reading it again, I'm like, oh yeah, no, there's like all this crap going on that's like really intensely emotional. But that's like not like how I remember it in my brain. I remember like the things that I'm like more remembering. I'm like, oh, remember when they like were just hanging out with croquet?
Yeah. Remember when Daiki was drunk? Like the silly things.
Yeah, and they're like walking their dog. And, like, that's fine. But like they have this kind of like comfy like domestic existence. And then I do kind of like how we get in Mao's head sometimes, and she's like, I want to touch him.
Yeah.
Because I feel like sometimes like shoujo romance protagonists don't get to be like, I'm interested in snuggling.
I'm lusting after you.
Right? And she's like, I want to touch him more. And I'm like, I get you, Mao. You're not Chi-chan, but
I love when she gets her hair caught on Hiro's button.
Oh, caught on his button, and he's just like trying to be like all stoic, and he's like, what's she doing?
Yeah.
And then I love how his first thought is like, he's like, is she trying to like pull something? Then he's like, no, it's Mal, she's doing something stupid.
So good. I mean, she did draw on his face later, and he like didn't even try to wipe it off.
No, that's what I thought was so funny. He's like, now I have to get a hat.
Yeah.
Like, why don't you wash your face?
I was like, I understand it probably all won't come off immediately, but like, come on, bro.
I know, like makeup remover, like lotion. I don't know. There's like numerous avenues to like get a giant eye off your forehead.
He didn't even try.
Now he's like, I'll just have to go get my hat. And I'm like, okay, that's fine, Hiro.
Such an adorable dork.
I know, he is. I like Hiro a lot. I just feel like I really feel for him, I think. Because I'm just like, he is just such a lonely person.
He has no idea.
He's just like, he lives with a turtle, and like also like his work schedule is like bananas.
I don't understand his work schedule. Is there a schedule? It just seems like it's like do things forever.
Yeah, he like constantly works, and then he like comes home at like dawn and like takes a shower and goes back to work. And I'm like, is this your life, dude? Like,
that's very Japan. That's my stereotype of Japan.
I know, it's like totally my stereotype of like the Japanese salaryman, and I'm like, when do you like bathe? Like, how do you live?
I don't know, but they do.
And he like comes home and makes bentos for Mao to take to school
because he's a mom.
Because he's a mom. I'm like, maybe I just want a boyfriend who's a mom. Like,
yeah, that's what I learned.
Right? He's like, does the laundry. He cooks her breakfast and makes her bentos. He's like, he's really got it all figured out.
I love it.
But it's like he had no one to take care of to like use his skills all this time. So now he like finally does.
Yeah.
And he's so excited.
All atrophying, and he's like, yes.
I know, poor Hiro.
I think the only other thing that I definitely wanted to bring up was the use of fireworks as both as a metaphor, but also as a thing that they like do frequently.
Yeah, that is true. Well, they have that Mao has that episode where she goes and tries to light fireworks with her classmates.
Yeah, and it doesn't work because they're like old fireworks or whatever. But then
because they're old. But
she does it with Hiro, and then it seems to work slightly better. Is like, was my take on that?
Yeah.
And I'm like, mm-hmm.
And you're like, ooh, what does this mean? I know, and I think Oda's there too, like at the time when the fireworks don't work.
Yeah, it's totally, I'm like, I see the metaphor here.
Like, ooh.
Love is sparkly and explosive.
I know, right? Well, also that part is really cute too, because she's like all excited to have a curfew.
Oh, yeah.
She's like, because she's like never had a curfew because her parents don't give a crap about her. So she's like, I have to be home by my curfew. And the other kids are like, oh, sorry. And she's like, I have to leave now. It's my curfew.
Yeah. And they're like, sorry.
They're like, okay, bye. Like, sorry about it. And she's like so excited. She's like, someone's waiting for me. Like, I'm going to get in trouble. But then they go to the fireworks festival together.
Yeah, they also go to the fireworks festival. And I love it that it's like, you know, it's a thing that they do every year, and fireworks are so fleeting, but they still bring about this wonder that you anticipate and all these things. It's so good.
That is so good. I know the classic fireworks festival confession. Like, I just cannot get enough of that. And also like the fireworks like booming too loud, and they're like, I couldn't hear you. Yeah. What did he say?
My understanding of Japan in the summer is that like those summer festivals are the only good thing about the summer.
But yeah, I liked that the fireworks festival, especially if we're thinking about like fireworks as like a metaphor for like romance, where like the fireworks festival is kind of something they do every year, and then the flashback to like when Mao didn't go with them, and because she was like at home like waiting for her parents, like and waiting for her family.
No good.
And so she like missed the fireworks, and then him like bringing Mao is kind of like a fulfillment of that promise.
I know. So good.
I know. So good. But it's also like, why is her parents so bad? Like,
some humans are just bad. That's what I'm like.
just bad. But yeah, it's like, I don't know. Yeah, I thought that was nice too, where he's kind of like fulfilling his promise from when they were a kid. And he was like, I'll take you because your family isn't going to take you. And that's like pretty much what the manga's about.
I know. See, on some level, it's so much like Hiro is so admirable for wanting to maintain all these things in childhood, from childhood and stuff. And at the same time, it's like, Hiro, you got to grow up.
I know. That is kind of true, right? You're like, Hiro, maybe you need to like move past this.
Yeah, like, even when they were talking about how you mentioned earlier, you know, Mao like stays in Hina's room right now, and Daiki has taken his old room, and Hiro still lives in his old room. So then when they're talking about how Hina's going to come, they're like, well, what's going to happen then? Is like Mao going to live in our parents' room? And I'm like, why wouldn't Hiro live in your parents?
I know. I was thinking about that too, actually, because like, yeah, they were like, oh, well, when Hina comes, I won't have a room. And I'm like, obviously there's one more room in the house, you guys. Like, your parents' room. And I'm like, is this like...
can take that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like a Miss Havisham situation where they're gonna like go in and like everything is just as it was. Like,
well, but that's what's baffling is because they have that scene where they get the yukata for going to the fireworks festival, right? Where isn't it supposed to be like one of their moms or something?
Yeah, and it's Hiro and Daiki's mom's yukata.
So like clearly they do have a like Hiro is like, I have a level where I've let the thing like, he's like, the yukata is sad that nobody wears it, so like go ahead and stuff, you know, like he has some healthy level of like,
but even that was like so fraught with like baggage, right? Because like Mao was like felt like weird about like wearing it, but then Hiro was like, we need to move forward and like someone should wear it.
And Daiki was like, no, I disagree.
Yeah, well, but then Hina sees Mao, doesn't she?
Oh yeah, like
Hina sees Mao in her mom's yukata and like comments on it. And it's totally like Mao has like usurped this place in the family, like at that moment. And it's, I don't know, it's like so fraught.
I know. Oops.
But it's like, I kind of agree with Hiro. I'm like, well, someone should wear it. Like,
right. I know I'm like pretty young, but I definitely get very fraught. Like if I think about it too much, I'm like, I have all of this junk. What is going to happen to it when I die? Like people are just going to throw it away. Like
it's not getting really dark.
Yeah, and it will make people sad, like, and they'll throw it away because they don't want to look at it because it makes them sad and stuff. And I'm just like, okay, this is
right.
I hate capitalism now. Thank you.
Capitalism. Well, I feel like there's some virtue to like using something that like someone left you in order as like a way to like keep their memory alive.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like Mao using his mom's yukata is like, we're all moving forward, and like this like. We went to the fireworks because they went to the fireworks festival as a family too, as kids, right?
Yeah.
And so it was like they like remember like everyone getting out their yukatas and like going, and like kind of like part of their ritual, and in that way they're like kind of keeping it alive. So yeah, it is tough. But yeah, part of me, I'm like, Hiro, maybe like you shouldn't have like lived in this house that your parents like died in.
Yeah, part of me is like, Hiro clearly needs to move past some things, like.
Well, he's kind of just like frozen in time because he's just like stuck in this house where like his family lived, and like preserves like tries to like keep everything as it was, that his siblings can like come back to things just as they remember, but like his siblings are not as he even remembers them.
Yeah, because they are in peak. Oh, we grew. Like, isn't that magical?
Yeah, we are humans. It's been like 10 years and we grew up. And so he's kind of just like, he's like a time capsule. Like he needs to figure out something else to like pin his emotions on than like his family coming back and living with his dog and turtle.
I'm hoping the best for him in the remaining 6 volumes, I guess.
I know. Yeah, I almost like the house is so central to the manga. Like the manga is named after it, but it's like it'd almost be better if it like burned down.
Like they lit a firework and it set the house on fire.
Yeah, like what does this mean? Like where are your metaphors now?
Oh, too hot to handle.
But yeah, because it's just like this baggage like weighing him down. And I can see like the alternate side of that, where it's like the house as a symbol, kind of like a symbol for Mao, of like a place where she has always been able to be happy.
Yeah.
And be loved, like unlike her own home. So it's like a bright spot in that way. But in other ways, I'm like, oh, Hiro, you need to like be able to move past this family stuff and like live a life of your own.
I know. See, again, consistency. It comes in. I'm like, y'all, nope. Y'all need to just be like, let me think about this for a second. Okay, this position is nonsense. Throw that away. Make a new self-image of myself right now.
Right. And like be able to move forward and have like worry about other things than having your siblings come back. Because like even the thing is even Daiki and Hina come back. Daiki's the same year as Mao, and she's like a second year in high school. So only has like one more year before Daiki goes to college.
I know, right? And then he's gonna be his own adult boy and not live in his house anymore.
And then Hina is like, she's like in middle school, right?
Something like that, yeah. She's
like in 7th or 8th grade, and so eventually and then like he's gonna be like an empty nester.
He grew up too fast.
Again, and
at the same time went nowhere at all.
Yeah, and he's like always just been here working his like salaryman job. Yeah. Aww. Hiro also like maybe Hiro like needs better friends, like.
Right? Does Hiro have friends? That's the confusing part.
He has like his one office friend.
Yeah, he has his one office friend, but like,
who is like not that involved in his life. Like he's totally he's like a work friend only.
Yeah, and they only hang out when Sugimoto is like also there.
Yeah, and it's like he doesn't even tell his work friend about Mao. He's like, oh, my sister. Like he like literally confides in no one. Like he has no real friends.
Oh, poor Hiro. He needs a lot of hugs.
Now we're feeling very bad for Hiro.
I mean, he's gonna have like a mental breakdown one day, but like,
I know. Well, I'm just worried that like I feel like Hina could be like the breaking point for Hiro if she says something like really unkind to him. If she's just like really blunt about being like, look, dude, you need to like move on. Our parents are dead. And I'm like, don't break the boy.
Oh, he's gonna get broken in the next 6 volumes, isn't he?
I don't know. Does he? I'm trying to keep.
You know.
I'm trying to keep it a mystery. I mean, I will say this manga, like I said, is like overall like pretty gentle. It's not like some shoujo manga where it's like a dramatic. And then Daiki got hit by a car.
Oh yeah.
That would be a dramatic twist.
Ooh. It would. I would still love him. I'd be like, no, Daiki, you deserve so much better.
And then maybe that would be how we got out of like being sad that Daiki failed as the love rival. He got hit by a car and died, and like everyone came together over it. And Hina came back, and then no one had to live in their dead parents' room because Daiki's room was open.
Oh boy.
It was a family of tragedy.
Yeah. Oh, well, I think on that note that, like, I guess we can end here with the mystery of what will happen.
What will happen? Will Hina come home? Will Daiki get hit by a car? Yeah. Will the house burn down in a freak fireworks accident?
You have to stay tuned to find out. Anyway, seriously, thanks for listening to Shojo Tell. If you have any comments or questions or whatever people normally want to say about episodes of podcasts, you can email shoujoandtell@gmail.com or tweet us, Instagram, whatever, @shoujoandtell on those things. Kelly, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is @KellyQute, Qute. And you can also find my podcast at onepanelator.com, where you can find lots of really fun articles I have written about manga on the Barnes & Noble Sci-Fi and Fantasy blog.
Ooh. You live the life. You're like, I got this podcast and write about manga. I'm like,
I know. I'm like, when do I have time to sleep? I don't know.
No sleeping. That's overrated. But yeah, so everybody go check out One Panel Later, and then, if you like both of those podcasts, you should go leave ratings or reviews in iTunes or Stitcher or wherever you see a thing that's like, how did you like this? Click the 5 stars or whatever.
And in your review, you can tell us if you support Daiki or Hiro as Mal's love interest.
Yeah. Which one do you love more? Which Nakamura boy? But yes, so next time we will, for real, be back for the last 6 volumes of House of the Sun. And we will find out if Daiki gets hit by a car. Probably not, but, you don't know. You don't know.
You don't know. You're going to have to read it and find out.
Yeah. Okay, until then...